day to you. Pastor Jim for Crossroads International here again with my Monday devotion. We've been doing a series on the MINDSTORM and a lot of the challenges we're having in this post-COVID-19 environment. And I want to start out with, how many times have you heard this phrase, or you've maybe used this phrase, in a minute, just a moment longer? And at times we, like adults, can be just like little children. We cry out just a little longer. There have been times where I've struggled with my job and truly found myself in very, difficult or intolerable relationships. And one such time I even had high blood pressure because of the stress of it. Just a little longer, just a little more pain, a little more discouragement, a little more unhappiness, a little more. Those who are people that are like me, who have what I want to talk about today, is called the MINDSTORM of the wilderness mindset. And as Moses led the people of Israel from Egypt, if they had obeyed God, if they had stopped grumbling and they moved ahead as God instructed, they could have made the trip in just 11 days. And instead it took 40 years. So why did they finally leave? I'm going to read quickly out of Deuteronomy here in chapter 1, starting with verse 6. When we were at Mount Sinai, the Lord our God said to us, "You have stayed this mountain long enough. It's time to break camp and move on. Go to the hill country of the Amorites and to all the neighboring regions, the Jordan Valley, the hill country, the western foothills, the Negev, and the coastal plain. Go to the land of the Canaanites and to Lebanon, and all the way to the great Euphrates River. And look, I am giving you all this land. Go in and occupy it, for it is the land the Lord swore to give to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to all their descendants." So why did they leave? Because God had said you had stayed long enough. God pushed them on to the promised land. They were in bondage. They had seen miracles. They had yet still been in bondage. No matter what the situation, it was never good enough. They complained about everything. They complained about the food. They complained about the situation. They even complained about the manna. They were mental prisoners. No matter how good things became, it was still never good enough. They had forgotten the hardships, and they had forgotten even slavery of Egypt. And every time they were dissatisfied with Moses and his leadership, they moaned and they groaned, and they said, "Oh, if we had only stayed in Egypt." They'd forgotten how bad things were. They had no vision for how good things could be. This resulted in being afraid of moving into the promised land, forgetting the miracles they experienced, and they had no confidence in God. They cried out, "There are giants in the land." They said many other things, and they even had to do routine, quick, sneaky visits in. Then God says it's time to move out. The Bible does not tell us about their attitude, but there's reason to believe that nothing really had changed, right? There's no reason to believe nothing had changed. And maybe they even pushed back and said, can't we just stay a little longer? Can't we be here just a few more minutes? Back to us. If you don't like your life and yet made little effort to change it, you may be in this MINDSTORM of the wilderness mindset. This is not hard to believe after over a year now, this COVID-19 mentality. As we have been jammed into our homes, we have kept away from what was normal to us in functional society, and even so influenced to stay in our homes that we avoid corporate worship due to COVID-19. We're not even going to church, but we'll go to the supermarket, we'll go to Walmart, but we're so influenced to stay in our homes. If your mind stays filled with negative thoughts, they will keep you in bondage. You will not have vision. They will keep you truly from hearing the Spirit of the living God and what's best for your life right now. However, you can do something about it. Do not waste any more time. I have dwelt long enough at this mountain, haven't you? And it's time to get into the promised land that God has promised for you. The land where there is victory and no longer any stagnation. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Let's cast off this wilderness mindset and have a promised land mindset instead. Let's get victory after victory in our lives and just have joy once again based upon that plan that God has for you, and not this lost and fallen world plan that keeps coming on you. And by the way, speaking of plans, next week we're going to talk about a perfect plan in the MINDSTORM. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you next Monday for another devotion. Take care. Bye-bye.